Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome back. So today's Wednesday night, which means Halacha and Tanya. So what I want to do tonight is discuss, because of what's going on tonight. So first of all, we're going to be learning Torah, because we're going to be learning Halacha and Tanya. So we have the revealed Torah, the hidden Torah, and we're going to say a kapitel Tillim at the end, and then people should put money into the tzedakah box to have all three things together in the merit of what's going on in Eretz Yisrael. So first of all, welcome back, everybody. I hope everybody had a great Yom Tov besides what's going on in the world today. What I wanted to do is to discuss questions that came up because of this war that's going on in Eretz Yisrael. Now, obviously, we're just going to discuss issues. We're not going to make rulings because some of them are very complicated issues. I just want to preface it with the halacha. The Rebbe always quoted in Shulchan Aruch, in the laws of Shabbos and Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch, why you're not allowed to give back any territory to the enemies, to the non-Jews. It's biblically forbidden, as we'll soon see in this halacha. Okay, in Hilchos Shabbos, there's a din like this. I'm gonna read it and translate it more or less. Okay, goyim that are making a siege around the city. If they only come for money, they're not coming to kill people. They're only coming because they want to rob the city, whatever. Then you're not allowed to desecrate Shabbos, because you don't desecrate Shabbos for money. If they come for soul issues, meaning they want to kill people, then even if they don't come, we don't know why they're coming, but it's possible they're coming because they want to kill people. So you desecrate, even if you even think they're coming, they're not even coming yet. You even think they might be coming, you already desecrate Shabbos. Okay, then it says like this. This is a very important halacha. A city which is next to the border, even if they're only coming, Teven Vakash means they're only coming for straw, which is worthless. They're not even coming for big money. They're coming for nothing, basically. You have to desecrate Shabbos. Why? Maybe they'll conquer that particular city. And because it's a boundary city, the whole land opens up for them. Okay? So this is a din that the Rebbe spoke for years, since the 6-day war. When they, after the 6-day war, they were giving back property, land. They were talking about giving back land. So the Rebbe said then, from this din in Shulchan Aruch, you see, any city in Israel today is near the boundary. It opens up the land. They conquer the south, it opens up. They conquer the east, the west, the north, wherever it is, any city that the guy might want to conquer. So even if they're coming for no reason, they're not coming to rob, they're not coming to kill, they're just coming, you have to desecrate Shabbos and kill them before they come. That is one din that applies. Then there are other dinim that the Rebbe spoke. There's a din that Eretz Yisrael, biblical land, there's a negative commandment in the Torah, in Parshas V'eschanan, that says, Lo sechonim. You're not allowed to give chaniya ba'aretz. You're not allowed to give goyim any land of the biblical Eretz Yisrael. Okay? So it's biblically forbidden to give back any land, mamish biblically from the Torah, is biblically forbidden to give back any land that belongs within the biblical boundaries of Eretz Yisrael. Number one. Then the Rebbe also spoke about the Sinai, when the Jews conquered the Sinai Peninsula and there was oil there, and then the Jews gave it back. So the Rebbe was screaming that they're not allowed to give it back. Not because it's part of Israel, it wasn't part of Israel. But the Rebbe is saying in these issues, just like in medical issues, you don't ask a politician, you ask a doctor. In other issues, you ask the business person, you don't ask a politician. The Rebbe says when it comes to security of the land, the experts who are the experts in security of the land are the generals, the war people, not the politicians. The generals who protect the army that protects the people, they're the experts in the field. All of the generals, then when they gave back Sinai, were screaming not to give it back. First of all, Sinai then was beside the oil that was there. There was a buffer zone. If you give back Sinai, then and they, live all over Sinai, then they're opening up Eretz Yisrael. The mamish opening up. They're much closer to the Jews. And based on this din in Shulchan Aruch, you wouldn't be allowed to do it because you're not allowed to give even the most remote opportunity for the enemies to want to come into Eretz Yisrael to conquer them. Okay,
you might want to listen.
Okay, this is one thing. Now there's another din, and somebody asked me an interesting question with this. There's a din, and I'm gonna explain first, say the law in the Rambam, and then explain the interesting question somebody asked me. There's a law in Rambam in Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah, at the beginning of Rambam. There is a law as follows: Nashim she'amru lehem akol. If there was a city with women in it, and the goyim came and they said, "Tunu lanu achas bikem, give us one of your women that we should rape her or defile her, and if not, we're going to rape everybody." The din is Yitamu Kulam.
Halacha is about the war.
Yitamu Kulam, everybody, you don't give up anybody. Let the whole city become raped, and you don't do it. Because you don't give over one Jewish soul. The same thing like this. This is the din I'm bringing out now. Similar din. If the goyim, the idol worshippers came, and they said, they came to a Jewish city, and they said, give us one of your members. They don't say a name. Give us one person, and we'll kill him, and if not, we'll kill everybody. The din is, Yahargu Kulam, let everybody be killed, and you're not allowed to give over an individual Jew to be killed. They do it, but you're not allowed to give up an individual Jew to be killed. Okay? He said, what happens? They designate a name. Okay, that's a different story. So somebody asked me a question like this. Hamas was saying that for every bomb that you drop, this is what they're saying at the beginning, we're going to kill another captive that we captured, the kidnapped. For every bomb that you do, this is what they were saying. For every bomb that you're going to drop on us, we're going to kill another kidnapped victim. So they asked me, based on this halacha, maybe they should stop the bombing. Because they're basically causing this one individual person to be killed. That was their question. So I said, there's no comparison between these two things. Number one, the din is they come to you and say, give us one of your people. You're not allowed to give up a Jew to be killed or to be defiled and raped, God forbid, or whatever. Here, they have them already. It's not that you're giving them to the goyim, that you're not allowed to do. And therefore, the din is that they would not be allowed to stop bombing because that's what they said. Because it has nothing to do with this din, per se, of giving up a person. You're not giving, they have them already. So it's not under your jurisdiction anymore. That was an interesting thing. Okay. Now, there was a question that the Rabbonim in Israel were asked. It's like this. When they found when they found the dead bodies, many of them were dead already for a few days. The question is, it was very hard to identify the bodies. So the question is, you could do a temporary ID but it might not be a definitive ID. So the people asked the Rabbanut, Rabbi Yosef, in Eretz Yisrael, the Rabbi Roshi of the Sfardim in Eretz Yisrael, they asked him a shaila, maybe in order to bury them right away, let the family start sitting Shiva, because until they're buried, they can't even sit Shiva. So they asked him, maybe they should do a temporary ID and bury them. At least they'll be buried and the families could start sitting Shiva. So he called together his Bais Din. There was a few more shilas like this. He called together his Bais Din, and he ruled that you cannot rely on a temporary identification. 2 reasons. Number one, God forbid, if this person, okay, you want to identify the person, he's dead. So the family sits Shiva. So then technically, if there would be a wife, she would be a widow and she would be allowed to remarry. What happens though, if you made a mistake in the identification, because it wasn't a definitive identification? If it wasn't a definitive identification and you're going to rely on a temporary ID to bury the person, so then this woman might remarry eventually, and we don't even know 100% sure it's her husband. That's number one. Then he said, number two, it's not respect for a dead person to be buried unless if you know for sure who he is. Until they find out for sure who the person is, he said they cannot bury them yet. Let's find out a definitive identification, and then we'll be able to bury them, and then the families could sit Shiva, and, you know, God forbid, whatever. I mean, if then it is what it is, if the people would have to marry or whatever it would be. So that is another interesting shaila they had. Then there was another shaila posed to a very big Rav in Eretz Yisrael, named Rabbi Yosef Shusterman, not a Lubavitcher, but a very, very great Rav in Eretz Yisrael. They asked him, should they, normally there's a custom that whoever buys chos and bereshis gives the kiddush on Shabbos bereshis. That's the custom in the world. You buy chos and bereshis, you know, the one that begins the Torah. So then they sponsor a kiddush, a big kiddush in the Shabbos bereshis. So they asked him, is it appropriate that they should make a big kiddush for Shabbos bereshis? Is it appropriate or not? So he answered, they should. They should make the kiddush, but they should say Tehillim before the kiddush, Tehillim at the end of the kiddush, and therefore it would be, you know, appropriate that this is not stam, you know, it's also in memory, so to speak, or helping out the Jews in Israel by everybody saying Tehillim together. Another question that I was asked today, that you know, people are in Hebrew it's called pachdonim. A lot of people have a lot of fear. They're afraid of a lot of things. So somebody asked me that in LA officially Hamas is planning to do something that's above the mice. But anyway, so they want to know if they can carry their phones to shul on Shabbos. Now we're talking people that go by the Eruv. There's not an issue of carrying. So the question is, a phone is muktzah. Would they be allowed to carry the phone, which is muktzah, to shul on Shabbos? So let me go back and discuss this thing because many people are asking the question. The question is going to come up again. Many people here in America have guns. Okay? So the shaila is like this. Forget a phone for a minute. Let's discuss a gun and then we'll get to the phone. Number one, is a gun muktzah on Shabbos? We started learning muktzah, you know, things that you're not allowed to move. Is a gun something which is halachically muktzah or not? It's number one. Number two, If it's not, am I allowed to carry it if there's no Erev? So some people are saying we have to. Why do we have to? Because it's a danger. I'm talking about here in America. In Eretz Yisrael, by the way, all the Rabbanim Paskin, the soldiers, the Chayalim carry guns and Shabbos throughout the year, even when there's nothing, going on like it is now. So they carry guns and Shabbos. First of all, there's in most of Eretz Yisrael has a native. There's not even a shaila of carrying. In Eretz Yisrael, because it's mamish dangerous, as we know, so then halachically they can even carry a gun. Okay, but Eretz Yisrael is Eretz Yisrael where there's Arabs and all that. So now the question is, people are asking this a lot. Are you allowed to carry a gun on Shabbos? This is a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever. There was things going on in LA or around America. There were people were threatening this. One, are you allowed to carry a gun on Shabbos? Or are you allowed to hold a gun on Shabbos? Is it muktzah or not? So most people say, I didn't see anybody that says it is muktzah. I know in Shmir Shabbos Kelchosa, which is a very excellent book on Hilchos Shabbos, he brings down from Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, who was a very big Rav in Eretz Yisrael, and he said a gun is not muktzah. A gun is not muktzah. Therefore, let's say somebody is in shul and they want to have security, and they, let's say, leave their gun in shul, and they want to wear the gun during davening or whenever they're in shul. There's nothing wrong with that halacha. The question is, and so let's take it a step further. So if there's an eruv, okay, that many people carry in, and somebody goes by the eruv, so technically they can carry their gun from their house to shul and the shul to the house if they're within the eruv, because there's not an issue with carrying either, and the gun is not muktzah. The question is, if you don't go by the eruv, or in a city where there is no eruv, so are you allowed to carry a gun on Shabbos? The answer is clearly, unless if there's an actual danger, not maybe. If there's an actual danger, then you would be allowed to carry a gun. But to say that in America at the present, because something happened in a shul in Poway, or happened in a shul in Pittsburgh, America's a big country. When an incident happens once every 10 years, it should never happen. You're not going to say that the whole America is now a dangerous state. So the bottom line is, so a gun is not muktzah. So if you're allowed to carry, then you can carry a gun on Shabbos. If there's no eruv, then you can carry a gun in the house or in a shul. If you have guards or just people that have guns, so in a shul is not a problem. A phone is a different problem. A phone is muktzah. The phone is muktzah. I remember in the Yom Kippur War, those of you that will remember it, the Yom Kippur War started on Yom Kippur and it went into Sukkot. So I remember I was a Bach in Yeshiva. I remember then Rav Moshe Feinstein gave out a public ruling that nobody is allowed to leave their radios on during Sukkot, even low. He said you're not allowed to have the radio on. There's a lot of reasons for that, by the way. First of all, if you're hearing the news, you'll forget you'll make it louder. Then you transgress something. Secondly, you're not allowed to listen to bad news on Yom Tov for Shabbos. So he came out with an open psak, an open ruling that you're not allowed to have your phones on, and even during Yom Tov of Sukkot, which is not even Shabbos, it was Yom Tov of Sukkot. You're not allowed to have the phones on. So again, in LA, to say that you'd be allowed to carry a cell phone in the street, even if you use the eruv, by the way, but the cell phone is muktzah, so then you can't carry it. Okay, you think it's danger, so halach in that case would say, by the way, stay home. Halacha would say if it's a danger, why do you have to put yourself in a danger and then go be Machalo Shabbos? Stay home. Or I mean, just in a better way. A woman is expecting any minute, and the husband's going to shul, okay? And there's an Erev, let's say, and she wants him to carry a cell phone in case she needs to call him in shul. She'll call him, and you're not allowed to do that. If he wants, he can leave a phone in shul. He can't move it. He can't move it, and he can be next to his seat that he put there the whole Shabbos. And then if he hears it ring on Shabbos, then he'll know to go home without answering the phone. But many times Allah will say, stay home, daven at home, and that doesn't allow you to desecrate Shabbos because you want to go to shul or because you want to go to somebody's house to eat. So those things are actually, so it wouldn't be allowed really, according to halacha, to carry a phone, or not in LA at least. Another thing I wanted to mention, in fact, somebody just called me right before the class started, and I got a bunch of phone calls about this already. People have arranged events. Bar mitzvah, I got calls about bar mitzvah, bas mitzvah, challah bakes, events, different events that people are making, schools are making, or places are making. And the question is, should they cancel those events? Should they cancel the events? According to the Rebbe's opinion, how do I know what the Rebbe's opinion is? He didn't say it now. But every time there was an issue with the Yom Kippur War, Melchemes Sheshes Hayamim, anytime there are issues like that of terrible tragedies in the world, the Rebbe had a clear opinion every single time, and he never said differently. And the Rebbe said events should go on as is. Should go on as is. Obviously, you make it into Torah, Tefillah, and Tzedakah. So you say a kapitel Tilim, and you give tzedakah, and you speak words of Torah. But the Rebbe said, the Rebbe's opinion was, you don't cancel any plans. On the contrary, because by canceling the events, you're showing that what's the evil that's going on in the world is controlling you. Like this, we're in charge. We're still doing what we're supposed to be doing. And therefore, whoever called me, a bunch of people called. I said they should continue all the events, bar mitzvahs, bas mitzvahs, challah bakes, gatherings, whatever it may be. The Rebbe's opinion was clear that nothing should be canceled. You have to do it with, tact about speaking about Eretz Yisrael and what we could do to do more mitzvahs and do more things for the sake of Eretz Yisrael, but not chas v'shalom in any way whatsoever to cancel any of these things. Okay, there's a lot of more issues, but I think we're going to leave it at this, and we're going to go to Tanya. And Mirta Shem, by the way, Monday night, we're also back to normal 8 o'clock. And Wednesday, we're going to learn regular halacha and Tanya. So let's go to Tanya now. If anybody has any question about the whole issue, they can ask it now if they want.
What about sending your children to yeshiva?
What?
What about sending your children to Eretz Yisrael to go to yeshiva now?
There's one problem. How are you going to get there?
Some of the planes, hello.
Flying, okay. Again, generally speaking, I know this has to be decided by the Rabbonim in Yisrael. People that asked the Rebbe, there was a clip going on recently that somebody that told the Rebbe their daughter's in seminary and they don't want to send it because it's dangerous. And the Rebbe said they should send and there's no wrong. And listen, I mentioned this in the 6-day war, when every single Rosh Yeshiva in the world, every single in Eretz Yisrael, every single Rav in Eretz Yisrael told American kids they should go home right away as soon as the war started. And when the Lubavitcher parents, I know the Bachim that were there then, and their parents asked the Rebbe if they should send the kid, take the kids back home from Eretz Yisrael because the 6-Day War broke out. The Rebbe's famous answer to them was, there's no question Hashem does not sleep or slumber. They should befedish stay in Eretz Yisrael. Okay, nobody knew what was going to be from the war. They did miracles in 6 days, but nobody knew what was going to be. The Jews were attacked from all sides. Nevertheless, the Rebbe's opinion was, whenever anybody asked him when there was problems going on, the Rebbe's opinion was they should go and as planned, and to stay in yeshiva or whatever. Again, I don't know what the situation is now that the Rabbanim Eretz Yisrael and the Rosh Yeshivas and Eretz Yisrael are going to have to decide. But that was, generally speaking, that was the Rebbe's opinion. Okay, let's go to Tanya.